Am I the asshole? For being pissed there was no alcohol at a wedding. One of my M35 best friends M34 got married last week. He drinks alcohol and our friend group will meet up at breweries a few times a month to hang out. His fiancée, now wife, does not drink. It's never been a part of her life. My wife and I got a hotel room by the reception space and Ubered to the wedding. The ceremony occurs, we go to what's supposed to be cocktail hour and there was just soda and water. No alcohol. This was not something we knew about ahead of time. There was a palpable buzz among our friend group at the lack of booze. A lot of us had spent money on a hotel room and Ubering anticipating drinking. I'm kind of pissed. Bride and groom come to cocktail hour, everyone cheers, and when the bride and groom come mingle with us I ask where is the booze. His new wife chimes in saying her family does not drink and they were paying for the wedding, thus no alcohol. I tell them we should know that ahead of time. I say I wasted money on a hotel room and Ubering. I would have just driven if I'd known or maybe not even had come. The bride does not take my commentary well and implies I might have a drinking problem. I don't, I only drink with my friends. The groom says I don't need to be such an asshole. I reiterate that I spent a bunch of money on something I didn't need, we all did. The bride's pissed at me and asks me to leave. My wife and he leave, but it's clear I touched a nerve. In our group chat, friends were mixed on me saying something. My wife said I wasn't wrong, but my timing was wrong. So was I the asshole? You're the asshole. While I do believe this type of thing should be announced beforehand, you saying you might not have even come to the bride and groom is beyond the pale. If you were only there for an open bar, you aren't really their friend. Their mistake was a hosting faux pas, but you were not only a rude hostile guest who confronts someone about this at their wedding reception. You were a shitty friend. You're the asshole. Why did you even bring this up at their wedding to the bride? You shot yourself in the foot with that one. Negative commentary about what is at a wedding or not is never appropriate to direct to the bride and groom during the event. Not every party has alcohol. You're the asshole. So, you wouldn't have celebrated your friend's big day unless you could get drunk doing so. What a great friend you are. Wasted money honoring your friend's union, but not getting free booze. AITA. You're the asshole. You wouldn't have even gone if there wasn't booze. Yeah. You're the asshole. I was going to say NaH and then I read. I tell them we should know that ahead of time. I say I wasted money on a hotel room and Ubering. I would have just driven if I'd known or maybe not even had come. You said this to someone who is supposedly your best friend at his wedding. What is wrong with you? You're the asshole. I hope he finds some better friends now. You're the asshole. The point of weddings is to celebrate the couple, not to get smashed. You're the asshole. The part where you implied that you might not have come if you had known that there was no alcohol was what put it over the top. You were right about all of the other points, but maybe save that for the groom at a later time if you really felt the need to criticize. You're the asshole. And you seem to have an alcohol problem. Silly of your friend for thinking you'd want to attend their wedding to share their celebration, not so you could get drunk. You're the asshole. Dry weddings are not unheard of, but they are not the norm. This should be announced when invitations are sent out. I'm sure you weren't the only person who spent unnecessary money thinking you would be unable to drive. I get that it might have annoyed you. It would have annoyed me too. But having this altercation with the couple on their wedding day was not the time or place. It doesn't sound like the upset is so much about the lack of alcohol, but the fact that he and others spent unnecessarily on Ubers and hotel because this fact was not communicated. The words chosen were poor and it's not nice to say that you might not have come while at the reception. That said, people really should have a heads up if it will be a dry wedding. Don't list something as cocktail hour if there are no cocktails. Should say something like social hour. Sodas will be served. Info: did the wedding invitation and or program list a cocktail hour, or was that just your expectation? You're the asshole. I would have just driven if I'd known, or maybe not even had come. Sounds like you just wouldn't have come. The fact that not coming to support your friend's wedding is an option for you is so telling. You can have a grievance. Air it out with your friend, privately after he gets back from honeymoon. Or work out your feelings at the bar after the wedding. Drinking isn't a wedding requirement. You're the asshole. You griped about lack of alcohol to the bride and groom during their own wedding reception, and then said you might not have come if you'd known there wouldn't be booze. Yeah, if booze at a wedding matters more to you than being there for one of your best friends, you are definitely the AH, and it also makes me skeptical about your claims that you don't have a drinking problem. You're the asshole. If you cannot go without alcohol for one night, you are an alcoholic. Also, if alcohol matters more to you than celebrating your friend's wedding, you aren't a very good friend. ESH them for lying by omission and tricking people into attending their boring dry wedding, and you for starting an argument with a couple on their wedding day. You could have just kept your mouth shut and left early like a normal person would during a boring dry wedding. You're the asshole. The last thing you ever do is criticize somebody about their wedding. You have no idea the amount of planning that goes into it. Unless you are paying for it, keep your mouth shut, and do your best to enjoy the ceremony, or don't go at all. This wedding is about them, not you and your alcohol. You're the asshole. It's their wedding, drinking is not the point of the celebration. Honestly, it's rude AF to tell her that you might not have gone had you know there would be no alcohol. Don't need to be an alcoholic to have a drinking problem. Personally, acting as if you're entitled to it, not expecting, but the entitlement and broader societal expectations that psychoactives will be at social events like weddings are problems, frankly. You're the asshole. You're the asshole. If you did not like it, you should have just come up with a polite excuse and left. If you really felt the need to complain, you could have done that later and not at the actual wedding. Who throws a fit about not being able to drink for a few hours? And in case you are wondering, I have nothing against alcohol and I am a social drinker myself. Bride and groom should have made everyone aware it was a dry wedding. You shouldn't have thrown a hissy fit at your best friend's wedding. This is why you have to let people know if you're not serving alcohol. Your guests might spend a lot of money on hotels and Uber. Not the asshole. I would have just driven or not even come. They knew that, and that's probably why they didn't say anything ahead of time. It's expensive to be a guest at a wedding. Clothes, hotel, gift, but at least you get to drink with your friends. You take that out, IDK. I wouldn't have gone and just given a gift. You're the asshole. I agree that they should have told people the wedding would be dry. But that's not an excuse for you to be rude to the couple on their wedding day. Sometimes you get invited to an event and it's not what you hoped. Unless you're literally attacked by the hosts, you don't go up to them and complain. You're not an asshole for throwing a bad party. You are an asshole for marching up to a couple that just got married and whining that they didn't provide you booze. Oh hey, the other side of that post from last week. I think the consensus was yeah, you should have at least given a heads up that there wouldn't be alcohol. They should have made it clear so people could make reasonable provisions. You were equally out of line to confront them about it in the moment, have a bit of grace and let them have their wedding without arguments. You didn't need to say what you said, when you said it. That being said, the bride and groom are assholes for not letting guests know the wedding was dry. There was no need to take precautions about Ubering and getting a room, if you weren't going to be drinking. Everyone seems to have missed the second point. Yeah, that's a nope. You advertise a dry wedding, if not in print then by word of mouth. There are a lot of non-parents riding chivalrous in the comments on this one, but this should have been outlined as a courtesy if nothing else. You basically said, I only come to drink. Without alcohol, you are wasting my